3. Oh, sorry. Hi, I'm candidate number 3. Good morning. Thank you for taking your time to come in here, Miss Johnson. I appreciate your vulnerability to coming to me with your concerns today. I'd like to know, how can I best support you?
Yeah, so my son has been experiencing bullying and also experiencing it from the end of his teacher. And Ms. Sullivan has not had any communication with me. There hasn't been any introduction. The parent-teacher conference, she wasn't there. There was a QR code up on her door. I guess she wasn't available for parent-teacher conferences. So it sent me to a link to a virtual hub. And I had put in questions and wanting to have a follow-up conversation, and she yet has to contact me. And now it's after winter break. My son is feeling as though that he is an outcast. He is significantly bored in the classroom. And this has been going on for some time in this district where I have asked for enrichment for my child and I have been dismissed. My child's been dismissed because he has higher levels of energy. He can be distracting. He can sometimes call out and just wanting to constantly talk. And I feel as though that there are other things at play because he's a boy, because he has high energy, because he wants to engage in learning, that the teachers are squashing his love of learning. And he is a child who comes from mixed culture. And that also has been very difficult for him because he feels as though that he is dismissed as a person in the classroom because he has a different background than some of the other students that are in the classroom. His peer group also notices it, like, hey, he doesn't get called, he doesn't get picked to be leader in his groups, especially during his science classes with Ms. Sullivan, and also is being told to be quiet, go sit in the corner, go sit in the back, you're a disruption. And all he wants to do is share his gifts and talents. And the lack of parent input and the lack of just care for the whole child is significant. So, I know that there is a group right now that is forming and meeting and talking about these things of, mistreatment of maybe multicultural or multiracial, as well as if you don't fit in the perfect box of this district, then you're dismissed. I mean, this child gets advanced on PSSAs, but yeah, he's failing his science class. It makes no sense to me.
Thank you for sharing that with me. I do not want a child to ever feel like that in this school. There are some things that we are doing in our school. Every month we go through, I just realized, can I share my screen with you or no?
Yes.
Oh, it says no.
Okay, hold on. You should be okay now.
Okay, thanks. Every, sorry, now it's not sharing the right thing. Every month, I, as the principal, go through all the incidents and all of the referrals that I have received, and I look through the population of students and where this is. Now, currently, you can see a lot of Hispanic referrals. Majority of our school is Hispanic. So what we do is I just do look at the trends and the disproportionality ratio to see what it looks like, to see if there are any implicit bias. And if there is a lot of support that I am putting in place for our teachers to try to change some of their implicit bias. So during PD, we are having some talks about that. They can be uncomfortable, but these are the things that our teachers need so that your student and other students at our school do feel comfortable coming to school. And there is some learning that needs to take place with some of our staff members to solve some of this. So we are trying to get some coaching for some of the teachers. I know you had talked about, in addition, your student is board and that they have scored advanced on a PSSA. So one of the things that I am having our instructional coach go in and do is help with some of the engagement and seeing things that are happening, whether it's a classroom management or if it is engagement techniques, things that they can help certain teachers so that that happens. Now, it is concerning to me that your student's scoring advanced on the PSSA and not passing the class. That is very concerning to me. And I will investigate that and look into it to see what things I can see from that. One thing, too, is that our district just started doing, because based on some of these reports that we have run and some of the data we have run, we have figured out that there it was an issue at the district level for students being screened for gifted. Only certain students were being before certain students, we would ask the teacher for certain student names, and then they would be screened for a gifted screener. We realized that that was an issue. So what we are doing, we started this last year, is the special ed department came together and they just changed the process where students in the entire grade level are screened with our instructional coach, with the gifted teacher, and with the classroom teacher. So they're screened on their iPads. And based on that screening, students who score 120 or above go on to another screener called the KBIT. And then from that, then we have a parent meeting to discuss what the results we found were. The grade levels that get that currently are second, sixth, and ninth. So that is one of the things that we are doing to address students who could possibly be gifted but maybe got missed on a screener. And in addition to that, we do look at the PSSA scores, and we do, if it's not one of those grade levels, they can also, those aren't the only grade levels that can be screened. Those are the typical grade levels. If there's a parent who would like their child screened, there is a form you can fill out to have your child screened. So maybe you can think about that also, because if they did score advanced on the PSSA, that's something we might want to look at. Okay. In addition to that, at our school, we have formed an equity team this year. Our equity team has different diverse members on it. They are all present at PD, and they also present for 30 minutes every PD session. And in addition to what I present, they also have a piece that they present, and they have conversations with staff about implicit bias, and they also put a tip of the week on the weekly newsletter for staff to look at. Now I realize that maybe not all staff members look at that. That's why the professional development is very important. But I want to go back and say that when I look at the data that I pull every month, because that's important to me to look at, to know if there is anything that's disproportional. And if it is, I do look at the teachers that the referrals come from, so that I can investigate and see if there is a trend with that teacher. And if it is, then I need to keep looking into that to investigate, to make sure that there isn't implicit bias going on. And if there is, I need to do my due diligence to fix it. So I do need to discuss with this teacher. You talked about parent-teacher conference. I do know that there was an emergency that the teacher did not come to parent-teacher conference, but I was unaware that they did not answer your questions in the link. So I'm going to make sure, if it's okay with you, that I reach out to the teacher and make sure that they set up a meeting with you to discuss that. And if you would like me present in that meeting, since you have a lot of feelings, I am willing to do that. But please let me know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that would be of a benefit because I have been trying to reach out. I've been emailing. I do not call because I know that they're teaching and, that's very important, but sending, Schoology messages and also trying to have my child be self-advocating as well. So he's messaged her, he's tried to speak to her, and she's very dismissive to him. She often just puts him in the back of the corner and telling him that, he can't engage, he has to sit, he's being a distraction when really and I've tried to talk to him at home about, raising your hand, writing things down, and he just feels as though that she's not answering him when he does have questions. and that she's very dismissive of him. And I'm not sure why. My child does not have ADHD, but that just keeps being thrown around. And so he'll come home very upset, saying that his teacher thinks that he has a problem, and that, across the board, if you look at his grades, he has very strong grades, but in this area. So, he's a strong reader, he's a strong math student in advanced math classes, but yet again, he's never been screened for gifted. No one has ever come talk to me about being gifted, but they've always said, he is a disruption in class, that he can't sit still, that he can't be a part of a group because he just keeps taking it over, or, he has an attitude. And I have always told him to behave and keep his head down and try to just do his work. But I'm not sure why he has a mark on his back. And again, he is a child that has a different background, which I think is a strong asset to have. And so
Yes.
I feel as though this teacher just has a personal problem. And if she were to be reaching out to me, then I wouldn't ask you to be a part of it. But I think we've gotten to the point where she's not collaborating or engaging with my family, with my son, and it's the half of the year. I feel like his year has been lost. And I'll definitely think about filling out that form, because I think that he's had missed opportunities in this district, because he has not been seen as, I guess, the star student. So then the teacher didn't recommend gifted. But I know nothing about that. I didn't know that that was something that you could do. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for going through it. And thank you for giving your teachers professional development in the arena of considering a whole child and considering their assets, because they're not deficits.
Of course.
And
And good. I was going to say, and if you would like, I can have the special ed consultant reach out to you and tell you like what would be entailed in the gifted screener, so that I know I can send the form home with you, but then she can maybe give you some detailed things of what is involved in it, so that you can really think about it instead of just sending a form home. She can contact you. In addition, I feel like when we're talking more about, and you're getting more in depth about the student and teacher relationship, I feel like maybe there is a conversation to be had with the student and the teacher together to get that out. I don't know how your son feels about that. So maybe first I will pull him aside. I know you just came in and there was something that just had happened in the class right before you walked into this meeting. And I can tell you that since it just happened. I have not had time to investigate it. And I want you to know, as the principal, just because somebody writes a referral or sends somebody from class, that doesn't mean that I'm jumping to conclusions. I do my due diligence of investigating it. So I have yet to talk to your son about this, but I know you had just walked in my door. So as soon as we are finished, I'm going to have a conversation with him. If you are okay with it and you feel comfortable, I'd like to know if he is comfortable in speaking with the teacher, with me present, of course. And I can set up a meeting also with your son. You are definitely invited to that also, but I feel like a restorative meeting to kind of get out some of the things that are happening. And sometimes when we're getting in the pace of things and there's a lot of students and there's a lot of classes, we're sometimes not thinking about what we're really doing, but when it comes to light, that might change. So I think maybe having a restorative conversation might be beneficial, especially since it's halfway through the year. And like you said, you feel as though your son has lost some time, some learning. And I feel like it's really important that we all get on the same page, because we need your child to move forward and we need your child to learn and get the grades that he knows that he can do, and you know that he can do and is capable of. And so it's not okay if he's sitting in the back of the class. He needs to be in the class, needs to be participating. And it's important that I have a conversation with the teacher also, because all students are different and all students are learn differently. I'm going to also have a conversation with my instructional coach on how she can go in and observe and give some tips and pointers to make this better also. How does that sound to you?
yeah, I think it would be great, because right now he doesn't feel connected. And like I said, his peer group is very supportive, and it feels as though that the staff um, might be having issues with student dynamics, and it's coming off of like not having a connection with their kids. And the
So,
peer, like his friends are like, hey, like, I don't know why she has it out for you. I don't know what's wrong. So I really appreciate the work that you're doing with professional development. I hope that she, as Ms. Sullivan, is a part of those pieces because I really think that she could get benefit to that. And I hope that she um, really listens to Jake and is able to see the harm that is happening right now. So, yeah, and I'll look forward to scheduling a time to meet with you and her. I do work, if we could look at scheduling a time maybe next week, in the morning,
of
that would be
course, before
best.
work. What
Yeah.
time do you start work at?
So I have to get into the office by 9.
Okay,
I think that Jake arrives at school at like 7:10. So, if it can be like 7 a.m.,
of
I'll be
course.
there.
Yes,
And maybe have Jake meet with you and his teacher first, because then maybe that will help guide the
the
conversation
conversation
of us. Again, I know that he's not perfect, but I also know that he's a really cool, dynamic kid.
of
And
course.
so I just want him to be successful. So thank you so much.
Thank you for coming in and thank you for being vulnerable and coming to me with your concerns because it is very important that, we think about the child and we do what's best for the child. So it is very important that we do have this meeting so we can support him going forward and make this the best we can for the rest of the year.
If you have any of that, you were talking about a group that you're getting together with parents. I'd be happy to be on that committee. And my boyfriend, just
Great.
let me know.
Okay, thank you. And I will make sure that special ed follows up with you also
Okay.
about the gifted screener. And I will make sure that his teacher is aware that we are looking into that also.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.